Hey there gamers, welcome back to the Board Game Co channel. Today we have a preview of 3 Magi. Hey there gamers, it's Professor Meg here and welcome back to the Board Game Co channel. Today we have a preview of 3 Magi by Bethlehem games. You can check out the Kickstarter link down below because this is a current crowdfunding campaign, and with that being said, this is a sponsored video as well as a prototype copy in front of me, so all of the rules, components, iconography, things like that are subject to change. But that being said, 3 Magi is going to be a game where players are competitively trying to travel across from Arabia over to Bethlehem. So you are stopping at certain cities along the way, but every different spot that you stop on is going to have an action that you are able to do. You're going to do the entire action, which consists of a few things, and you're going to, over the course of 3 different day phases, move your 3 Magi across the board, and then have a night phase where you will score any of the night cards and then move forward to the next day. However, the game end is going to be triggered when a player reaches Bethlehem over here. So once a player reaches Bethlehem, you will go through the 3 day phases still, so depending on even if they go there on the first turn, you will finish this entire phase, go through the nighttime scoring, and then you will do the end of game scoring for the different things that players have collected throughout the game. Now, 3 Magi is going to be a game all about your resources. You're going to have these different cards that you're using, and the cards can either be a resource for you to build out a gift, or they're going to have an ability on it. And when you use that ability, you also have a specific icon that's going to help you on this circular track here. So you can see that you have your stars, your suns, and your moons. So when you play a card for its ability, you're going to be able to spin around on this track and start to unlock different things with your engine over here. But if you play cards to create gifts instead, you'll be able to take these cards here, which will give you a lot of points for endgame scoring. You can see that 2 resources here will give you 4 points for this gift, but if you can get all 4 of these resources, you'll be able to get 10 points at the end of the game for this gift here. Now, this is going to be one of those games where you start off feeling like you don't have much of anything. You do start off with 3 cards, which are the things that I described, so you are going to have resources available to you. Here you can see frankincense, gold, and silk, but you can also see that they will give those different actions, which we'll go over, but they're going to give different things depending on if you choose to play that card instead. Now, you are going to be able to build yourself up in this game where you are moving yourself up on this track, and you're also able to chain some of these cards, but there are also merchant cards that are extremely important. So they're going to be pretty rare for you to be able to purchase, but there are merchant cards, and depending on what you choose, they're going to do different things for you, where some are going to give you victory points, some are going to give you an instant ability, but some are going to give you an ongoing ability, such as a discount to these gifts. So some of them can be very, very strong depending on when you choose to chain and use these different merchants, and by the end of the game, you will have a lot of cards that you are able to really use to your ability and see what you're able to eke out with the gifts and things like that before the end of the game. In the game, players are going to have their 3 different Magi that they are moving along this board. And the rules for the Magi are that your own color can never share a space, but you can share a space with other players. So both of these players could choose to make this move on their first turn, and that would be legal, but then this player would not be able to go to this area. But your Magi kind of create a caravan for you, so if it was set up like this, the green player would be able to choose to move their next Magi either to this spot because it's moving forward toward Bethlehem into a free area, but you are also able to chain through this current one and move to one of these spaces instead. Now, again, on the next turn, this one would be able to move either to this spot here, or they could move through this one up to here, or they would be able to move through this Magi over here and travel up to one of these spots, because players are only able to move from left to right, progressing toward Bethlehem. Now, you can have 3 of your Magi here in Arabia, and you can also have 3 Magi landing in Bethlehem, but other than that, you cannot have any of your own Magi sharing a space. Now, looking at these different spaces, these cities are a bit stronger, where they have 3 actions each, where you can see we have Arabia, Jericho, Jerusalem, Herod's Palace, and Bethlehem. But I'm going to go over what each of these actions are, which are pretty intuitive. So at the beginning of the game, you start with a card from every color, and depending on the color, you can anticipate certain rewards. So for example, here for the gray cards, you can anticipate getting silver or gold, whereas with the orange cards, you could either get myrrh or frankincense. So you can kind of anticipate what you're going to be drawing on the cards and what you're choosing to take. And these spots are going to show you when you have to take a specific card of a specific color. So In Arabia, you have a blue, a black, and an orange, and that's what you start with at the beginning of the game. So a player that would move over to this area would gain a blue and an orange card to their hand. Now, again, those cards are going to have actions that I'm going to go over in a little bit, but that's another reason why you might be wanting to draw those cards. Now, you can see here there's a rainbow card, and that means you get to choose what color card you get to draw instead. Now this symbol here is going to be how you gain the merchants. So when you have this red symbol, that's when you're going to be able to take one of those cards. And whenever you see this disc symbol, it's going to be moving your discs around this area here. So this one is specifically for the sundial. So the sundial would be moved forward on your personal track, whereas this one is the star. And some of them will be a dial with a question mark instead, meaning that you can move forward any one that you choose. Now this area is very, very fun, where you're going to be able to chain certain abilities. So for example here, where we moved that sun marker from this area to this area, we would also be able to draw a wild or a resource of our choice. So you can choose any of the three colors. There are actually wild resources, so I don't want to confuse you. There are some that are true wilds, but this is where you would get to choose which color you take from which deck. So that's going to be one of the things that you are gaining from this, is that you're gaining the different actions. For example, in this star track, when you pass this area, you'll be gaining this draw a merchant card, or take a merchant card. But whenever you pass these areas, as long as all three of your discs have surpassed each of the quadrant areas, you will unlock that ability. So for example, if we had our current discs set up like this, and we gained more in our moon, that our moon surpassed that area, once we were to gain a star over here, we would immediately trigger this being unveiled. So you can see that your level 1 ability is that you're able to move a disc forward, any disc that you choose. And when this happens, you're going to be able to get it not only when you unveil it, but during every night phase. So every time you go into these night phase times, you'll be able to trigger those for a second time. Now, additionally, if you are able to align all three of your discs when you are hitting these different quadrant areas, you are able to unlock an additional bonus for each track. So for example, if you'd like to be able to play a card, you can unlock this bonus and place it here, meaning that when your disc passes over this area, you are now able to play a card when doing so. Alright, now that is all of the actions on the tiles, besides playing cards as well as crafting for these different gifts. So I'm going to go over crafting first, and then we'll go over playing cards. So if we were on a crafting action and able to craft, for example here in Jerusalem, we would actually be able to draw a card first, perhaps making our hand a bit better for the different things going on here. As you can see, we can almost craft this one. So let's draw a card from this area, and now you can see we are able to craft it. So to craft, you would have to discard the resources, and then you would take the gift, and then your gifts go face down, so the points that you're gaining are going to be a bit mysterious as the game progresses. Players do know the gift that you took, so they can kind of anticipate how many points you have, but they are hidden, so it does kind of add a little sense of mystery for other players. Now, you can also see that there are some merchants that provide endgame scoring. For example, this one is for every gift containing a silk. So if I were able to gain as many gifts as possible with these silks, I would get 2 points for each of them. Now that is crafting the different gifts, but you're also trying to play cards throughout the game. So for example, this spot here is playing 2 cards, which can be very strong. So we'll take a look at the cards we have here. Now, this one is going to, whenever you play a card, you also move your disc of that color. So this would allow us to move our moon over to this area. Again, hopefully making it so you're able to align the different ones to gain these bonuses because you have some agency in the cards that you're playing. But whenever you play one, you'll move it forward for that and then gain the ability. So this one, as you've noticed on the board, is gaining a merchant card. But this one is going to be scoring during the nighttime phase. So all of the cards that you play will stay in play, and then during the nighttime phase, they will then go away and get discarded. So this one, it's frankincense, and depending on how many frankincense you have in play, you'll score 1, 4, or 9 points. Now, as you may have seen earlier over here on the mirror, Myrrh allows you to draw more cards, so it is specific, but you are able to draw a blue and black resource card. And then going through some of the other abilities, Silk is going to reward you for unique types of goods played during that round. So you'll score 1, 3, 6, 9, 12, up to 16 points, depending on how many of the different types of goods you were able to play that round. But it is very, very tricky to get cards played, so that's very, very tough to do, especially getting up toward those higher numbers. This is what a wild card would look like for you, so it provides a wild resource for you. And then this one is providing 2 points for every night symbol at the end of the game, or at the end of the round. So during that night phase scoring, this is when this would score for you. And finally, this would be allowing you to move any of your discs forward. So again, progressing on this track and helping this engine move forward. Again, hopefully helping you line up these different ones to hopefully get those bonuses available. Now, as I said, 3 Magi is a game where you start off feeling like you don't have much of anything. You have those 3 cards, but not really anything else. You don't have an engine with your wheel really going yet, and you kind of have to figure out how you're going to win this game. So everyone is moving toward Bethlehem, but you're all scoring points in different ways depending on how you adapt to the game and the different cards that you're drawing from the different decks. So you may move toward some night phase scoring where you're trying to get points that way, or you might be very crafting heavy where you're trying to create these different gifts and have some secret points at the end of the game. Now, the merchants are going to help everybody because they are giving you some endgame scoring. Some of them have immediate abilities, some of them have ongoing effects, but generally they pretty much help everyone depending on the different ones that you choose to acquire. So this is definitely going to be a game where you are adapting to the different strategies based on what you are drawing, what comes out, and what other players are taking, because you might be building towards certain gifts and then players build them and take them before you do, and then you kind of have some resources that you aren't able to spend anywhere, but they all have actions on them, so you're able to kind of pivot and use those actions instead to get yourself victory points in other ways. Now, if you'd like to see exactly how this game plays, there will be a gameplay on the channel as well between Alex and I, so be sure to check that out. This has been a preview. Thank you all for watching the Board Game Code channel. I've been Professor Meg. This has been a game by Bethlehem Games. You can check out the link for 3 Magi down below for the current crowdfunding campaign, and I will see you all next time. Bye!